these are the biggest, these are really the things that I see people are actually doing in their lives that's harming them and stopping them from gaining that speaking confidence and holding them back from speaking anxiety. And like, that's what I really see.
So I'm wondering, like, do you see this as a common thread that transcends race, gender, age, or do you feel like it falls in specific?
Oh no, that's a great question. I would say yes. It doesn't matter what age or income or ethnicity. It's human, any human.
So we're going to leave the audience just waiting patiently for us to uncover the 3 areas that they can work on. I for a second, I just want to pin that for a sec, because I am interested in there. What do you feel like it is that transcends all of and just makes it like this is just a human space that we all can relate to? This is like our connected humanity. What is it about our fear of confidence of speaking or a lack of confidence that is human wide?
I think it goes back to other human beings. When it comes to speaking, if there were no other people, we would not be scared. So it goes back to being in front of other people. So that connects the confidence piece. It's the problem and the solution, people.
Oh, cool. Tell me more on that. It's the problem. You've touched upon it. You can go further if you want. And then the solution. What do you mean there?
Yeah. Well, actually, the way I'm saying that was I was watching a Homer Simpson. This is what Homer Simpson said one day. He said something on the lines of alcohol, the problem and solution to all life's things, and that was Homer. But what I thought about it one day. When it comes to public speaking or speaking, it doesn't have to be in front of thousands of people in a meeting with executives. Most of the time, people are uncomfortable because of the people in the room. So therefore, if there were no people in the room and we were just by ourselves, of course we would be comfortable. But it's the exact people who are in the room that are with us that's making us feel like it's higher stakes. So at the same time, it's also causing the problem. And at the same time, if the people in the room created a more safer environment, we would feel safe too. Because I'm not sure if like I have many conversations, just to give an example, like the last potential client I was talking to, he has a stuttering problem. And I asked him, do you stutter when you're talking to your friends and family? None at all, no stuttering at all, because he feels comfortable. But when he gets into other situations, he stutters again because the strangers, executives, other people. So that's what I mean by people are the problem and the solution, and at the same time. When it comes to speaking, if it just was us in a room, it'll be fine.
I love the idea that we're all responsible for what we contribute to the space, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
It's so huge, and it's so huge. So I love that. I love the Homer Simpson reference. Ring and run with that one, because I feel that will resonate big time. So without further ado, I will let you shed light on one of the areas that you feel people are needing possibly to strengthen a bit more to enhance their confidence in speaking. What would be the top one of the 3?
Well, I would say before we touch on that, when it comes to speaking confidence, I do want to explain 3 of the major reasons why people have speaking anxiety.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when I say speaking anxiety, it could be in front of 1,000 people, it could be in front of 50 people, it could be in front of 2 executives, it could be in front of, so whatever your speaking situation, and you feel nerves in that particular speaking situation. One cause is that it's basically we get worried that people are going to judge us negatively and there's going to be consequences. And because we're thinking, oh, we might do something wrong and people are going to judge us and there's going to be a consequence. So therefore we might feel more nervous. So that's the inner game, let's say. The second reason is that there's no mastery in speaking skills. It's kind of like if you want to learn how to ride a bike and someone said, go ride a bike for the first time, and you don't really know how to ride a bike, it feels more scarier. So there's no mastery in skills. So that's the outer game. And then the third reason is speaking reps. Most people, again, if you just watch YouTube videos and read books about riding a bike, and you haven't gotten on a bike, you haven't gotten a rep in yet. But after my experience being a speaker coach, for a long time, I've noticed that 90% it's in the inner game that causes speaking anxiety. And the 10% is a combination of the speaking reps and the mastery in speaking skills. Most people have it the opposite way around. They think they need to learn more and they need to speak more in order to get over the speaking anxiety. But speaking confidence comes from the inner game. The way in is the way out. It's mindset before skill set.
Beautiful. And could not agree with you more. I'm wondering what your perspective here is when you were talking about the riding a bike. In regards to using visualization as a strategy, almost as like a dress rehearsal for people. I've heard, I know, and if anybody knows this, or if you know this, Kit, let me know in regards to the clarity on this. There have just been studies that people who, for example, have wanting to strengthen their biceps, and maybe they, for whatever reason, have hurt their arm and they weren't able to go to the gym, if they visualize moving that same muscle, they've shown that it strengthens that muscle. So if someone's visualizing riding a bike and they're not sure on the bike would be a huge, you're applying and attaining and actually experiencing, visualizing being on the bike before you get on it could possibly boost confidence to even get on it. So what are your thoughts around people using visualization techniques to help boost their confidence speaking so that they can enhance that inner game?
I think, yes, I think it definitely works when you use visualization, but I want to back up too. So let's say we take two kids, right? Because they're talking about visualization. Let's say we take two kids. One kid, let's say they both never been on a bike. One kid goes crazy on the bike. When you just give him a bike, he's just like, hey, how can I try this? How can I fall? But the other kid gets worried and scared about falling. Why is that though? Why is that? Is it because they're different? Right? Sometimes maybe there's no skill needed, but they just treat it completely differently. So even without visualization, yes, of course, they can both use visualization and it can help. But my question is, why do you think that is? Do you first agree with me? There can be like two kids with the way that they both see it.
100%. Oh, 100%. And so what I'm hearing you say too is that if you're that person that's watching, it's also about you checking your inner game so that you can almost intuitively sense like, oh, this kid's ready to roll. This kid doesn't need visualization. He or she's chomping at the bit to get on that bike. That's how they will learn better. Whereas this one, let me unpack this a little bit more, what's going on so that you can understand the person more. Is this where you're going? I don't know if I'm following that right.
Well, going back to speaking confidence, why do people have this speaking confidence? And why do some other people, even though it's not income, it's not how smart they are, right? They might be at the same level. They might even have a stronger accent than you do, and they're more confident than you, okay? Well, why is that? So that's the question that I've always been intrigued with.
I love it. I feel like it's so complex. What have you uncovered?
Let me tell you what I've done wrong, though.
Okay.
As a speaking coach, when I first began, I used to, like, people who had like a fear of speaking, I used to say, hey, you just have to speak more. I would even find them speaking events. I would even host a bunch of panels, and instead of me hosting it, I would get them to host it, okay? And I would find them all the speaking events in Boston. And even after speaking for so long, 5 or 6, they say, Kit, I still have those speaking nerves, even though they got the reps, even though Toastmasters is great. Don't get me wrong. Even though they've been in Toastmasters, even though every week or every bi-weekly, every month, they have something speaking at work. So they have the speaking reps. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that I've done when I first started as a coach. Just go speak more. You're going to get better. And still they say it doesn't work. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that I've made so far. Yeah.
So how have you remedied? So awareness is key, right? So for you noticing that, how have you shifted the way that you coach and speaking from seeing that?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when it comes to this, when you're asking how did I shift, now it comes back to, well, if it's not, is it, well, first of all, the question is it rep or is it not rep? It was reps for me. Now I know I'm going to sound confusing, but it was reps for me.
Can you just, I just want to pause you just to clarify what reps means for people who may not be aware.
Yeah. When I say reps, I mean in speaking situations, speaking up as much as possible, going out and speaking, or volunteering and raising your hands. It was, for me, the way that I got more confident with speaking was I went to Toastmasters, I raised my hands, I got enough speaking reps. But one of my clients asked me the other day, will what I did work for them? No. And I said, because I never had the same thoughts that you did about speaking.
Yes. What a clear and humble and confident insight for you to share with them.
Yeah, but that was a realization for me. So
Totally.
going back to those two kids, right? One has a different view of that bike in life, and another has a different view of that bike in life. Now, how do they get that view? And that's what we want to uncover.
So I'm hearing big time about being curious as the coach. Go and being curious to seek to understand the person, because some of these, it's like what I'm hearing too is that it's not a one size fits all. So there might be strategies on boosting your confidence speaking that have helped a lot of people. And at the same time, and correct me if I'm missing this, but what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like, is that you're also waking up to, if I'm more curious with the client to uncover what is going on in their head, then I can possibly share some of the tools that may work with that specific type of personality or that specific mindset. Or
well, I would say forget the coach for now. The individual needs to be more curious with themselves. And that's why I want to go into the biggest mistakes that people make, but that still keeps them holding them back from speaking confidence is thinking of getting more reps. Now, yes, I got more reps, but here's the thing though. If I'm nervous with speaking, the question I used to ask was, oh, I'll just speak more, so therefore I'll get better at speaking. But the question I was not asking, which I know I could have fast-tracked, the question what I was not asking was, why was I nervous to begin with? I didn't answer that question. I answered a different question. And Albert Einstein said, if he had 1 hour to save the world, he would spend 55 minutes on finding the right problem to solve, and 5 minutes figuring out the solution. So most people who wants to speak more, they usually never really ask the question, why am I not confident in the first place? Why do I get nervous in this situation in the first place? And so that's the question we really need to get curious about, either with the coach, or I would say do it by yourself, but that's the starting point.
Yeah, and I like the combination of both. I mean, it's like we were talking about before we even hit record. It's no matter what the industry you're in, where there are coaches or there are experts, there are trainers, or fill in the blank. I'm pretty strong-minded about that. It is geared always towards the person uncovering themselves, being their own expert and knowing themselves better. So I love the idea that also know for yourself, if you're someone who does feel that you'll feel safer and more comfortable, and you actually will do it on your own and ask yourself that question and be really honest about it, and then maybe make the tweaks accordingly, great. If you're someone who's like, you know what, I got to be honest, Kit's saying this, it sounds great, but I know I'm just going to get lost in the to-dos, or I'm not going to do it. So having someone else to hold me accountable, to create that space without judgment, to be able to help me be curious and kind to myself to uncover that. So there's options here. It's also about you trusting yourself to know what's best for you.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about that? Like, what do you do with clients?
When what specifically?
Do you create the same atmosphere like this, or like what do you do?
When I want them, well, in general, no matter what they're bringing, I look at my role as creating a space for them to feel completely not judged, and so that they feel safe, because if they feel safe, then their fight response is off, and then they're going to be able to be curious with themselves. But if they don't feel safe and they feel judged, they're they're not going to be able to tap into what you're talking about, that curiosity piece, because they're going to feel scared, they're going to feel threatened, they're going to feel
Yeah,
fill
yeah.
in the blank. So I always look at it as, I always do the prep work of creating that space for them. I've heard this before and I loved it, is for any coach, trainer, anybody, is I'm not your sage on the stage, I'm your guide on the side.
Mm, mm.
You
That's great.
know,
Wait, say that again. That was
I'm not your sage on the stage, I'm your guide on the side.
oh,
And I don't know who said it, but I was like, I
yeah.
love, it may have been Marie Forleo, actually. She's got
Oh,
great
yeah, yeah.
one-liners.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Marie Forleo, Homer Simpson. Let's see how many people we can quote today. But that's I feel is really important. And so if you feel right now safer for you to just be in your bed with a cup of tea and a pad and write down, like, what would help me be more confident speaking, and just stream of consciousness right out. If you have any strategies, Kit, throw in too, but stay there for right now. It's really about you just being honest with yourself so that you can really make change.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, with that said, I want to say one thing when it comes to coaching. I don't want people to, I do want to coach people, but I don't want people to hop on coaching calls with me, because usually that's what the clients do not want. Well, unless they want to talk to someone. Do you really want to go and talk to someone, or would you just rather have a method to the challenges that you're facing, right? Most people would just probably choose, hey, rather than spend 10 hours talking to a coach, just give me the thing, and we'll solve it. When it comes to speaking confidence, I see that they are kind of like, of course, there's many methods into it. We talked about speaking reps for one. That's how most of the people in the world thinks about getting better with speaking anxiety. I want to touch upon two other ways. Another one is now instead of speaking reps, right, we're going more into the mindset side of things. So this research said that your emotions only last for 90 seconds. After 90 seconds, what keeps you stuck in that loop, sadness, anger, fear, is your thoughts repeating the loop over again. So your thoughts are creating the feeling. Okay. And then your feeling creates the action. Now, this is later on going to go more to the therapy side of things, like cognitive behavioral therapy and other types of therapy. When it comes to therapy, I find that people also need to talk things out. They need to we need to realize the story that we've created for ourselves when it comes to, oh, how are people judging me? And if I'm going to say the wrong thing, is that going to ruin my reputation? So we need to see the stories that we've created for ourselves. Or maybe I'm not the expert, I can't speak, or I'm going to say something dumb, okay? And then acknowledging that we can shift and change our stories. So that's another way, becoming aware of the stories that we are telling ourselves and being able to shift our stories when it comes to what we think is true when it comes to our speaking situations. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super powerful. I mean, you just dropped so many bits in there about the time frame that emotions stay, that for a lot of people could be very scary. So just knowing that it's less than 2 minutes, right? It's somewhere between 1 and 2 minutes. And if you allow it to fully process through, you actually might feel a major release in some way. At the same time, what you were saying before about method and coach, it sounds like from what you're saying that a combination is really where it's at, because stuff might be coming up. And so if you have this method and you want to kind of bop on and off, it doesn't need to be either or. Again, it's about you trusting yourself to be honest with what you need. And that comes from being able to leave from here, to go inside, to sense it too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then go to your mind.
Yeah.
You're so trained to constantly be in our mind. So yeah, I love that. So one of the other that, you were talking to about before we jumped on the call, that you notice people do that they feel is right. It's actually counterintuitive though, is developing more skills to build their confidence speaking. Can you speak to why that may backfire?
Yeah, sure. So let's say, what do I mean by developing more skill? So let's say when people get nervous when they speak, some of the things people will say is, I need to stop saying filler words. I'm speaking too fast. I need to speak slower. Okay. Or I need to know how to grab and put engaging intro better. I need to know how to persuade other people better. I need to know what to do with my body language better. Okay. So that's what I mean by the skill set side of things. But most people are unaware that when they think, well, first of all, the question to them is, why do they think they need to work on the skill set side of things? Now, everyone has a different answer, but let's just go back to speaking. I speak faster, okay? People told me I need to speak slower. First of all, why do you think you speak faster? They will probably usually come down to, well, I don't feel like myself. I'm not as comfortable like I do in one-on-one situations. I get nervous. What does that mean? You're not asking the right questions again. Yeah, you came up with the whole different question of the skill side. If I learn how to speak slower, therefore my speaking nerves will go away. Or should you ask, why did I get nervous in the first place, and figure that out? Because if we ask, how can I speak slower? That's solving the symptoms of the speaking confidence. It's kind of, when I say symptom and root cause, if you're going to the physical therapist and you say, hey, physical therapist, my neck hurts. Can you give me an exercise to work on the neck pain? Yeah, they can give you an exercise, and let's say it released the neck pain, but then 2 weeks later, it comes back again. And then he gives you another exercise and it goes away, but then it comes back again. Or maybe the root cause of why you have neck pain is you're always looking down at your phone, and the neck pain keeps on coming back. So it's the same thing with speaking confidence. If you learn how to slow down, you're asking for exercises on the symptom. You need to ask for exercises for the root cause. That's why when it comes to another big mistake for speaking confidence is that most people, if they learn more speaking skills, you're shooting away from asking the deeper questions of why there is speaking nerves in the first place.
Which just so beautifully transitions to your third. Can you share the third piece that you feel most people are missing in regards to boosting their confidence?
And the biggest mistake for number 3 is that you don't spend enough time communicating with yourself. Meaning, because like the first 2 mistakes, getting more reps and getting more skills, what does that mean? If you want to speak more, therefore, you have to spend more time to find more speaking engagements. You have to add, if you want to add more skills, some people will say, I'm going to go study a whole, again, don't get me wrong, learning is great. But because we want to add more skills, we're adding additional things to reading more books, to answering more things. What we need to do is, instead of just adding, what happened to the removal process? It's like cleaning a house. When you are able to learn how to communicate with yourself, you're able to remove things. And, as a speaker, that's what you want to do too to your audience. You don't want to keep on adding things for them. You want to help them eliminate things from what they need to do. You need to make it easy for them. Same thing for us. One of the best ways that we can improve as a speaker is to know how to communicate with ourselves. Going back to what I said earlier, the way in is the way out. So the biggest mistake is that you don't spend enough time communicating with yourself. You're always asking others, how are you doing? And you're not asking yourself, how am I doing?
Because what might show up, so there's a lot of fear there too. And so you hit so much. I love the idea of not just putting the Band-Aid on, of saying, oh, if I can figure out how to not talk so fast, but get deeper into really what's the root cause that's causing you to speak faster. What's the protection there, that if I talk faster, what will it help me underneath? And so on the money with the add on. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's the removal is so essential. It's so essential. And it also, again, allows people that opportunity to uncover parts of themselves that may be the major gift. Like if people can get to the root cause of why they speak faster and uncover it, whatever it could be, because it could be a ton of different reasons. There could be a major gift that comes from them slowing down that they offer to people.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, as a saying that, I think one question we need to ask ourselves is, why do we want to keep on adding? Because I think I was definitely in this trap. I'm getting better at it now, but personally, I wanted to keep on adding and doing more and answering more emails and doing everything as much as possible because I want to get ahead. That's the reason, because I want to do more so that therefore I can get ahead. But now that mindset shift is completely shifted for me. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less. The less that I do, the more productive I can be, focused on the right task. So if I'm kind of like a monkey brain, kind of trying to do everything that I can, that's going to get me into trouble. And it's the same thing, so that's my personal reason for why I think I used to add everything. Yeah.
So big time quality over quantity there. And not surprising because I have the guest questionnaires before you guys jump on, and you said One Thing is one of your favorite books. So what is the impact that the book One Thing, that's titled One Thing, had on your life?
Yeah. So the book One Thing, of course, is about doing one thing at a time. Again, my biggest issue used to be procrastination, not focusing. I used to, go on sidetracked so much. But the One Thing really helped me because it helped me learn how to focus on one thing, and everything else I can do later or as a distraction. It's not really that urgent. I can do it later. So that's the biggest impact. Yeah.
And what was worth it for you? Why was it so important to you to wake up to that and go, wait a second, I want to refocus and shift my mindset around minimizing and having more quality over quantity? Why was that important to you?
I would say because I don't want to be mediocre. That's the biggest reason. And that's why it was so important to me, because I wanted to become better. And if I wanted to become better, I can't stay at the same level of thinking that I am now. I need to think differently.
What helped it? What helped? Because so you're also rewiring your habits. So what helped? Can you just share one or two ways that helped you stick to this habit of not getting so distracted?
This comes back to, now I want to touch upon, now I want to flip this back to speaking confidence again too. When I first started reading all these books about thoughts and more like the therapy side of things, sometimes that takes a long time. Finding your story, shifting your story, creating a new identity. But then there's this whole other side. I'm relating this back to, okay, how am I sticking with my habits? I think eventually I made the decision to be this way. And it only took a second. I made the decision of knowing who I wanted to be in an instant. And I'm saying all of this because when it comes to speaking confidence or deciding your habits, I just want to share a book with you that I read. I forgot if I told you. It's the Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr. The book is about how to stop smoking. I don't smoke, but I got this book recommendation from the book, The Atomic Habits. I think he mentioned it in like a sentence or two. But people are reading this book, The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. And people are still leaving reviews on Amazon, YouTube, wherever they can get the book. Of course, I don't think anyone's paying them to leave reviews. This book is back then. It's not even that new anymore. But people are saying, oh, after 50 years of smoking, I don't smoke anymore, right? And it's only after they read the book. Okay, so they read the book and they just stop smoking, cold turkey. Well, to me, that's fascinating. They didn't have to spend years and years with the coach in therapy. They can just they don't have to spend that much time on it. It's easy, okay? It doesn't take hard work. It sounds like a magic pill. It sounds like something that's impossible, but it's definitely possible. So one of the things that I've noticed is that in that book, he basically helps you make a decision that you become a non-smoker and you change your identity. But it doesn't take that much work, and it doesn't take years working with the coach. And that's what fascinated me, because now when it comes to speaking confidence, well, do you have to spend years with the coach, or can you just do you know how to shift it really, really quickly? And that's where I'm at now at the coach. I'm trying to combine everything.
Yeah. Oh, I hear it big time. And it totally goes back to before with you saying, wouldn't more people want a method versus a coach? It makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. So that's where you are now. So have you noticed resonant shift in regards to the audience that you're working with? Do they seem to be grasping concepts faster? Do they seem to be more willing to incorporate and integrate it into their life? What are you noticing different now that you're shifting your style too?
Well, I have to say this, before I did it on my clients, I had to do it to myself. But the problem was I didn't have a fear of speaking anymore. Like I'm comfortable. So I'm like, how can I teach something that I can't do? I can't experience myself. So that's when I really wanted to learn, can the stuff that I want to teach or the stuff that I'm reading, does it work for me? And I use the same thing for my procrastination. All the different things. And I have to say, I researched hypnotism, going into therapy, going into all of that, buying programs. Like I tried it all. Like I wanted to learn how to do it with myself and then translate it over. I have to say that when it comes to this side of things, I would say at first, most people are like, what the heck is this? What the heck is this stuff? Most people don't first understand, but when they enter this new field, it's like a whole new thing. Like when I first began, I'm like, what is all this being hypnotized? What is all this talking about thoughts and emotions? At first, I didn't grasp the concept because my mind was like, it's all hard work. You got to speak more. Okay, speak. It's not about reflecting. Is that journaling? What the heck is that? Reflecting, journaling? I know that's important. So at first, it was the same with me. It was a little bit different until you open your mind to it. A great artist once said, your mind is like a parachute. If it's not open, it doesn't work. So for those clients who really want it and have an open mind, they're the fastest to grasp it and the fastest to get a better life and have more confidence and become, a better leader and speaker.
Willingness. I'm hearing willingness just flashing above your head. You have to be willing. You have to be in that place where you yourself have your parachute open, or at least partially open, and willing to open it more. And a lot of that it comes so much from what you're saying of that inner work. And again, feeling safe enough when whatever space you're in that you can go there, because parachute will not be open.
Yeah.
If you are not feeling safe. It just won't.
Yeah.
So, and you're in charge of it. The thing that's cool is that you are in charge of it. You just, again, it's that trusting self of where you are. And I keep stressing that because I feel like coaching is a saturated business. Mental health got woken up a lot over the past few years. And it's incredibly important that the best you can trust yourself to who or when you should go where, because it's a sacred space. So whether it's building confidence or whatever it is with speaking, make sure that you resonate with the person that you're connecting with, because that's the only way that you're going to feel safe to be able to really reach your potential. And I love that you're practicing what you preach. I love that you're humble enough to admit that that's essential, because I'm right there with you. I agree 100%. There's something really beautiful about realizing, and it also allows you to stay with an integrity and credibility of going, I'm going to be asking whatever the topic is. If I'm going to be focusing with this audience or have these people's attention, I need to be willing to do what I'm asking them to do. And I love that you stretched it even more. And you said, I feel really comfortable public speaking. However, what is something that I feel like I want to and can work on that might be a different topic, but at least will get me into that discomfort feeling of growing, which is where the people you work with are. It's just incredible, Kit. So thank you so much for sharing everything, and the idea that it all goes back to inner work, inner work, inner work. You are speaking my language, so I love that. And is there anything else that's coming to mind that you feel people could, that you just want to share with people, that you feel they could benefit from right now?
I would say, piggybacking off of what you said, if you're working with the coach, in that gut level, you'll see if this is the right person for you. But individually, kind of like that spidey sense.
Totally.
Krista, you were telling me you were watching a Spider-Man. You kind of have that spidey sense. You will know if it's good for you. If that spidey sense is telling you something's off, it's not for you right now, or maybe for later, or maybe never, right?
Again, choices. It doesn't mean forever. You might have a hard no. The stronger you enhance your spidey sense, you'll know when it's a hard no. And it might be like, this isn't a hard no, it's just not right now. So then you put it to the side, and then all of a sudden you revisit it at some point. You're like, oh my gosh, this is such a yes right now, or this is such a no right now. I can't stress that enough, how important that is when you're in that place where you're like, you know what, I do want to strengthen that. And I'm being able to also, just to reiterate, one of the points that Kit made that I loved is that quality over quantity. It's something I feel, being in the professional development fields that we're in different ways, you can get really stuck on that hamster wheel of betterment, 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 betterment. And it can be exhausting and it can be suffocating. And at the end of the day, it's really about shedding, and what's inside of you already. So, Kit, thank you so much for this. I hope that people will put some of it to practice. Again, Kit focused on 3 areas to kind of flip the script and look at it from a different perspective. You also you peppered so many mini bites within that are beneficial. So again, this could feel overwhelming. Like, I do want to build my confidence. Kit just shared all this stuff. Where do I start? You listen again and you go, I'm resonating with that point that Kit said. And you work on that. And then you save the others for when you're resonant with them as well. Do you have any other strategies for people when you do share these tips, how, or a process for them to go about putting them to work?
Yeah, I would say if you're listening to this right now, and if you're still listening to this right now, then most likely you've maybe heard other podcasts or videos about speaking confidence, or maybe this is even your first time. I would highly suggest, if you want to keep on going, this is only the start of the conversation, right? Taking even what just Christy said earlier, don't add, just shut down things. That's a great strategy by itself. You know how many strategies we just gave you over this? You just have to choose one of them and start implementing them in your life. But I have to say this though, I'm going to segue into this. If you want to learn the best strategies on eliminating public speaking fear, anxiety, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, I have a free masterclass series. This is for professionals and leaders. It's called Becoming the Confident Speaker. You can always go to BostonSpeaks.com to learn more about it. But again, just take one thing that you've heard today from our conversation and implement that. That's the fastest way to growth.
And definitely check out Kit's masterclass. So glad that you're offering that and you're gifting that to people, because so many people have so much to say, and to be able to narrow and hone it in on being able to influence and make impact so that the world can be changed for the better, we need more speakers like that. So thank you for doing your part in helping boost that confidence. It is so appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you, Christy. And in the masterclass, this is what we talk about. How do you work with yourself? How do you work with the mindset? How do you shift it for yourself instead of speaking reps, instead of getting more skills? How do you work on that mindset side of things? And Christy, I just want to say thank you for having me on.
It's always such a pleasure. And the last thing you said is, there's so much relief in realizing, like, oh my gosh, I don't have to add more stuff on. We have so many parts that are already in the works. We're like octopus running around just with I always think of that, like, there's just so much that we're all doing. And to be able to know that there's a master class that Kit's giving that just allows you to internally relieve that pressure valve and maybe shed some stuff or ideas or preconceived ideas, whatever, limiting beliefs, whatever they are, and to be resonant in it, and to know that what Kit's sharing is for you to be able to enhance yourself as a speaker in a way that resonates with you. Kit's not saying this is a one size fits all. He's sharing things that will help you be genuine in your speaking style. It's so awesome. So I just want to stress that. Thank you, Kit, so much.
Yeah, thank you, Christy. It has been great.